Hey, I'm Peter from Working Design Studio, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you a lazy version of frequency separation. That technique where you take the detail of the image separated from the color and you can edit those on two different layers. So here's the before and here's the after. So you can see I've removed some of the blotchiness on his skin. You still see the color detail. So let me show you that again. So on and off. And over here I did the same thing. You can see this is off. You can see a little bit of blotchiness on her skin, and then you turn it on and all of that's gone, but you still have the texture. So let's jump into it. I'm going to drag our two images here into Photoshop and we can get started. So on our starting image, first thing you're going to do is copy it twice, so hit Control J on your keyboard or Command J on a Mac. I'm going to hide the top layer and we're going to turn this first copy into a smart object. Alright, and then we're going to blur it out with Gaussian Blur. So go down to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And that looks about right. It's going to be a lot of blur. And then let's hide that really quick. And on this top layer, select that and then apply a high pass filter to that. And then 5 pixels looks okay. And we're going to turn the blending mode to linear light. So now, if you unhide this layer, or both layers, you're going to see we have a lot of messy stuff going on. But we're going to hide both of these behind a layer mask. So hold down Alt or Option and click on the layer mask button, and then do the same with the top layer. And now with the brush tool, we're going to paint away some of the splotchy or dirty parts on his face. And actually, let's hide the layer mask on top so we can see where our texture is. So we're going to just paint away, and you can see it kind of disappearing, but we have that texture layer on top, which is giving us the texture and letting that stay there. Whoops, that's the move tool. Hit B, and then so just keep painting on the blurry layer basically, and then once that looks about right, you can see that's a lot. You can see that's a little bit, it's a little too much. So what we can do is just turn this layer down in opacity, and let's say about 60. I'm just using my number keys with my move tool selected to change the opacity. So I'm hitting 7, that changes to 70%, 60% looks good. And then we're gonna take this layer mask and then click and drag holding Alt, and yes, I want to replace that, and that'll make the texture appear just where we painted on with that blur layer. So if I copy this, because I want a little bit more of that grit that's in the rest of the photo, if I copy this, Command J, and there we go. Now it matches a little bit more with the rest of the photo. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. 7, 6. I'm going to turn my blur layer down even a little more. There we go. So now you just cleaned up some of the blotchier areas on his face, but you still have that skin detail. And if this is too harsh, like linear light, you could turn it to overlay, and that'll soften it up a little bit. So now I think that looks a little more realistic. So there we go. And then if we go to our other image, this is so fast, we can do this again. So I'm going to hit Control J twice to copy that. To hide the top image, I'm going to go down to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and like 24 is good. Oh, I want to turn this into a smart object, because that way I can edit my nope, not a layer mask. So that way I can edit my filter, and I have that on a hotkey, my Gaussian Blur. So that way I can edit the strength of the Gaussian blur after I apply it. So here I can just go back down if that's a little too high, and I can push this down, and just like that. So now it's non-destructive. So now with the top layer, I'm going to do the same thing, go down to Filter, Other, and High Pass. And this image is slightly lower res, so I'm going to turn down the radius, the pixel radius. And then again, I'm going to turn this over to linear light. Where is it? There we go. And now we have the same thing as we had before. We're going to apply the layer mask to this blur image. Then we're going to start painting away some of the detail with the brush tool selected and on white, so we're painting on this layer, or revealing this layer. I'm going to start removing, just painting around this area with a little bit of those red blotchy parts. Maybe a little over here. Try not to overdo it. There's not much to do on this photo, to be honest. So now, if I copy this layer mask onto our detail layer, hide these, you can see if I zoom in, we just removed a little bit of that blotchy skin, and there we go. So that's a quick way to do frequency separation, and just for kicks, I'm going to throw in the correct way to do frequency separation right after I add some curves to brighten this up. It's a little dim. And on her, actually, we probably want to reduce the strength of that. So again, if you turn it to overlay, it's a little bit softer of an effect. And maybe even too soft. So I'm just going to duplicate that, and there's a little too much right there. There we go. Now, the correct way to do frequency separation, you can actually find on this awesome tutorial, which is where I learned from Aaron Nace over at Flurn. And he shows you how to do it in detail. I'm going to do the same thing he does, except I'm going to throw a little bit of a twist where I do it the same way I've been doing it here, using a layer mask to paint on the details. So I'm going to group these together and hide them. Group hide, and then we're going to basically start over. So now I'm going to show you the correct way to do frequency separation. So the first thing you want to do is, again, hit Control J twice to copy that background image, hide that top copy, and I'm going to name this bottom copy Blur. And now I'm going to apply the blur to it. Filter Gaussian Blur, and then it's going to be a lot less than you applied to the first round. So about 7.8 or 7 is fine. And then on the top layer, you're going to unhide that and go down to image this time and apply image. And I already have the settings selected here, but basically you want to make sure on the layer it's selecting that background image, so our blur layer, and its blending is set to subtract, and you want the scale at 2 and the offset at 128. And hit OK, and now change it to linear light blending mode. Now what you should have is, if you hide these top two layers, boom, you should see no difference at all. And that's the point. You really want, it's a much more precise way of doing this technique. So now you can edit away the detail, and you can still have the exact, or edit away the blotchiness, and you'll still have the exact same detail that was inherent in the original image. So what you're going to do now is, this is my little twist, is you're going to turn this into a smart object and now apply the blur to it. And this time you can apply a lot of blur, as much as you want, because you're just going to be revealing the blur as a filter. So you're going to select the blur and invert it by hitting Control I, or select the smart filter mask and do that. And then with your brush tool, with it on white, so press X to switch it to white, using my bracket keys to change the brush size. Now I can start revealing the blur on her face, and a little bit on her forehead, and a little over here. And then when I hide the image, or hide the filter, you can see the effect. So off and on. And then add a little more curves.
Squirrel.
To So that's the correct way to do frequency separation. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. You learned a quick, dirty way to do frequency separation, and you learned the traditional correct way to do frequency separation. If there's anything else you guys would like to learn how to do, I'd love to do a tutorial on that. So just let me know in the comments. Give it a like if you found this useful, and thanks for watching.